everybody, welcome to A Taste of Whiskey. What we're doing here today is a blind challenge on these three Irish whiskeys. We have Jameson, the standard Jameson.
Good stuff.
We have Tullamore Dew.
I don't think I've ever had that.
And we have Conor McGregor's favorite, Proper 12. This one's from Dublin. This one's from Tullamore in Ireland. And Jameson, of course, is in Cork. We're going to move these to the side. What we did is we had earlier put them into these flasks like this, and they're labeled ABC. And on the bottom of each flask has a color that's on the bottom of one of these bottles. Okay? So at the end, we'll kind of figure out which one's which. So, Jake, how are you feeling?
It's cool, yeah, I like this idea. I'm usually more of a bourbon drinker. And more recently, I've gotten into the world of like the Irish whiskeys. It was actually just because I was gigging a lot at an Irish pub and they had it around, so these guys were suggesting, so I started getting a Jameson, and I actually like it a lot. So I'm excited about this. And I've heard a lot about Proper 12, but still haven't tasted it, so
yeah,
this will be fun.
Irish is the first whiskey. People think of Scotland. And the first verified whiskey was 600 years ago in Ireland. They do batch distilling.
Yeah. And
actually, an Irishman created something that they can do constant distilling, and the Irish were like, no, we're the way we're doing it. And the Scottish said, bring it here, bring it here, bring it here. And they took it, the vertical stills, and they were able to run it at a lot more volume, so it was a lot cheaper. And then they ended up taking the market a little bit. So, But anyway, I know a lot about bourbons.
Yeah.
I am not really that knowledgeable on Irish whiskey.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, so this
I know
should be
I don't
interesting.
like Canadian whiskey.
So take that into note. We will find Canadian whiskey you like.
Eventually,
Yeah, we'll get there. Pretty much, we're both whiskey enthusiasts, but I figured for St. Patrick's Day, instead of you going out and these are three everyday Irish whiskeys. You're not going to have a hard time. These aren't a store pick. These aren't limited release.
Right.
These aren't exceptionally high proof. I guess it's not proof in this. It's just APV, which is a percentage alcohol by volume. They're all 40s. Okay, I'm still in the bourbon world. I'm thinking 80 proof.
80.
Anyway, let's take a look at the first one here, and let's go to A.
Okay.
And tell me what you think when you get the nose, and then we'll try the mouth, and then the.
Kind of sweet.
Yeah, like almost like a pear.
Smoother than I thought.
Oh, you tried it, right? Yeah, there's like maybe a hint of vanilla.
Yeah. I'm not catching any pear, but not much burn. I thought there'd be a little more punch.
It's good though.
Yeah,
it's
tasty.
The mouthfeel, it's good, and the finish on it lingers pretty well. It's still there, and it's kind of complex. I'd like to see how it does in a couple minutes when I come back to it. Because let's just try it first. And what's your initial thought on it? Good.
It's good. Like I said, it's not as strong as I thought, but
well, they're all not
my
going to
palate right now.
They're all going to be at 80.
Sure.
You know,
but even
equivalent
then,
of 80.
I kind of expected more burn. That's what I said. It's a little bit smoother than I anticipated.
It is really smooth.
But this is going to be interesting because I've only ever had of these three the Jameson before. Right. So there's nothing really to compare to. So except that one bottle. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's try B. Ooh, that's definitely a different.
Yeah.
Different.
Right away. It's a little sharper.
It hits my nose real hard. I don't know if it's maybe a little peated.
I was gonna say there's a little more alcohol that you can pick up on this one. Maybe that's why that one was more smooth.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah, definitely burning that out. I feel that down the my tongue. As I switched the first one around.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right.
This one I get that dryness.
Yeah, a little more. Yeah. Like I said, this one you almost thought was weak because it didn't do that burn.
Right.
This one you feel a little bit more like I expected. All right.
Okay. Let's
take some mental notes.
interesting. I'm trying to get. It's. This one was not dry at all, and this one's so dry, and it's getting my mouth. It's really hitting it. Interesting. Okay. So let's
see.
do. Get more. I'm not getting a nose on this one. It's a little hard.
I feel like it's similar to last. Maybe that's why.
No, it's different. I get more of a.
At least the alcohol burn in the nose.
Almost a woody type of feel.
Also, it kind of, like in the beer world, it's kind of hoppy. There's sort of that like green.
Yeah,
fresh,
there's grains. There's some sort of grains.
It feels kind of strong in here.
Yeah, it's just you're getting a. What's that smell?
Right.
I can't get it. It's just like almost a smoky-ish. I don't know. Watch it be like Jameson. Ooh. Yeah, this one's definitely. I've never tasted this before. I don't think. So my guessing it's probably not Jameson.
I was gonna say I think it might be.
You think? Okay.
But like you said,
I could be completely wrong.
This one is a little more. It reminds me of Scotch a little bit, like one of those less smoky Scotches, but it still has some of that going on.
Maybe it is. Got a little burn to it. It's got.
So now.
Almost a. Yeah.
I think for me it's already in the order, but let's go read.
Let's go, and we're gonna A/B it. So we'll be back in a couple seconds, and we'll talk about it. This one feels lighter.
Than A?
B feels light. Let's see. Water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little more bite to A than I remember the first one. I mean,
really?
A lot of times what will happen is when we let the air get at it, it'll expand the flavor.
Yeah, opens it up.
And some things are really quite different from the first second you try it to something if you let it sit for like 4 minutes or 3 minutes like we kind of did.
Yeah.
So let's see what. Like I was almost certain that was that in my head, and no, I'm not.
Have you had that before?
Yeah. So maybe I was wrong when I said this isn't Jameson. Maybe this is Jameson. I think it was because I had the taste of the other two rolling into it. Yeah, this might be Tullamore.
It's also hard because, like, it's hard to say what's a favorite because, like I said, this has a character, a little bit smokiness to it. That if you're wanting that in the moment, that's gonna be your best pick. But if you kind of want something over here,
to your point, there's definitely not that bite to A.
Yeah.
Really, but I don't know if that's a bad thing.
I agree. That's what I was saying. Of like,
I'm like, it's a very, very smooth Irish whiskey.
Sometimes you want a sippable whiskey.
It's a sippable whiskey, and a lot of these at this price point too may not be designed to have neat. So I'm curious to see even if I put a little water in there, what would happen. The level we're drinking here, we're not drinking $50 bottles here. We're drinking, $20 and under. You should be able to get at your store. So we can tell the characteristics by this, but some of these you may want to have on, I'm not saying to do it, but if you want a rocks glass, or if you want something to have a little cold or chilled or mixed, you may want to pick some of these. I don't know. This one I think would be lost in that. I think these two may work in that. Maybe it's the...
A would be lost? Because it's already a little bit... Not bland, but water to
this is smooth and drinkable.
Yeah, doesn't need
neat.
Anything. Yeah,
this is smooth and drinkable neat. So these two have that little weird sort of bite, and it's sort of like I don't know if it's just too much. If it's oak or if it's wood or maybe not peaty. The last one was...
I feel like C is a little peaty. But like we said, the alcohol burn, I mean, they're all the same proof, which is interesting because A
doesn't feel it. It's smooth.
Yeah.
It's as smooth as smooth can be.
You wouldn't guess it's 80 proof.
Well, make sure you got it right. Because you're going to have to defend it. I'm going to go pick on you. If you pick it the wrong way.
Please do.
All right. So we have A, B, C, or this is C, whatever.
We'll find out.
They're in some order. A, B, C, look at that. And on the bottom of each of these bottles has a color, and the bottom of these flasks have a color. So what is your number 3?
I'm going to go with A.
That's interesting because it's the opposite for me.
Yeah, and I was going to say a different day. Maybe I would like the easily sippable smooth one, but it felt a little bland already. So I was kind of thinking, I want something a little more strong, more presence, you know?
Mm-hmm. A is my number 1. So I just found out what A was by lifting it up.
This one?
Yeah, proper 12.
All right.
So it's very smooth, drinkable neat, I think. And that's why I picked it as my number 1.
It says rich and smooth.
It's very smooth. It doesn't have that harsh aftertaste that you get a lot in some of the Irish whiskeys. And so that's my number 1. And we're kind of curious to see what Jake's number 1 is.
Hints of vanilla, honey, and toasted wood. The honey and vanilla for sure.
Yeah, totally. Now you say that.
I wonder how many times those are distilled.
These are triple distilled. I know Tullamore is triple distilled as well, and Jameson, it's triple distilled.
Okay,
yeah,
well, that's good.
It's pretty much a standard process for Irish whiskey, but there are some that they don't. So.
All right.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not a bad one. But just right now.
In fact, it's the best one. It's okay. Well, we'll talk about it later. Okay, what do you have at number 2?
I put B, and that was rivaling the proper 12 for me, although it had more characteristics, I think, in common with C.
The B was my least favorite.
Okay.
So what color is it?
That.
On the bottom?
B?
It's over here, yeah. B is yellow. Oh. B is Jameson.
Oh.
See, I was right, initially. That wasn't Jameson. I was starting to doubt myself at some point.
Yeah, like I said,
your number 2.
It had more of the alcohol feel, and in the nose, like you could catch it. Yeah,
it's so drastic. When I first did the tasting, when I went from the proper 12 to Jameson, it tasted almost foreign because I still had the proper 12 on my mouth. And once I switched to the water later, which is something, if you're going to do tastings, make sure you have water or crackers or something to break the taste up, or else it starts rolling together. But so your number 1 is Tullamore Dew.
And the reason, and I've never had that, so it's interesting to know. And I think the reason why that one was above this one is because of the kind of the peaty, the smokiness, where I thought this was more of a Scotch. And I kind of, I like Scotch flavors a lot. So because it was smoky, I think that just gave it the leg up to the Jameson.
Sure, that's what I had on my, that was my number 2. So I think if we put it in order of ranking, I think we would say Tullamore will be number 1 because it's your 1 and my 2, and then we were 1-3 on the other 2. So I would put proper 12 because you're wrong, and then Jameson. But
yeah, I'm okay with that because these are all really.
Oh wait, it's left to right for you. Sorry, it's right to left for us. So weird.
Yeah, like we said, these are all really good.
You can't even see that where you're at. There you go. That's our final ranking. Number 1, Tullamore Dew. Number 2, proper 12. And number 3, Jameson's. So thank you for hanging out with a taste of whiskey. And we're going to come back, and I think we're going to do an uncorking next time. I think we're going to do a Scotch.
Nice.
So
I like those. And remember, next time you reach for a bottle, don't grab a beer. Get a taste for whiskey.
No, try it again with a taste of whiskey.
And remember, next time you reach for a bottle, don't grab a beer. Get a taste of whiskey.
There you go. See you soon.